Good morning. Welcome back to a glimpse into my moment. Right now, I have the cutest little dog trying to get my attention. She is Corgi Shepherd mixed and positively spoiled because she was run over by a car, a great big huge dually truck actually, in June of 2020. So that moment, we actually thought we were going to lose her. But this little dog with two broken hips and one shattered leg and lots of scratches, scrapes, cuts, and a very, very traumatized face was able to be saved. She pulled through and now she goes on hikes. Not long ones, but she does. She proves to me at every moment that I look at her that we can overcome anything. There is absolutely nothing that I can't do if I just want to be brave like Maggie. If I want to look at the world through love and trust and ferocious guard dog abilities, for being a foot and a half tall. When I look at my life, I hope I live it as purely and wonderfully as this sweet dog. I am super excited to be back. I'm super excited to be here visiting with you guys in a super positive frame of mind. First, I want to apologize to you guys. The last few podcasts were really for me. I heal out loud. There is something about me that is not meant to heal quietly. I don't heal quietly. I have to share. And at times, my podcast is that platform. So if you tuned in to the last couple episodes, you tuned into just raw heartbreak, absolute falling off a cliff, and landing with a great big thud at the bottom of the cliff. And what happens when you land? Well, you either get help, die, or stand up. I have always known that I am a warrior, that I am packed through and through with resiliency. Through that falling off the cliff over the last month, I had a lot of conversations with some friends and I had a lot of conversations with my therapist. And the one thing that I learned from this group, and I'm going to use the words of my therapist right now, Nita, you are resilient. And not everybody is resilient. You see the world differently. You step forward differently. You recover differently. Because that's what resiliency does. You get hurt, destroyed, broken. You fall off that cliff. But to you, Nita, there is no other option than to stand up and get going again. It was an interesting thing to hear the reasoning behind why some people are resilient and why some people are not. Why some people might have just very, very fleeting thoughts of suicidal ideology, but other people attempt suicide. It really clarified a lot about my personality, and it helped me to take her words, her knowledge, and step a little bit deeper into who I am. Trust the people that you put around you. If you can't trust them, they're the wrong people. And I suppose without having a topic when I started this podcast. That is the topic of the day: trust. Finding the people that you trust and then tuning in. I had another conversation after publishing all of those very, very tearful podcasts. Of course, remember, we also had the anniversary of the death of my son. And that was huge. And it hurt this year like no other year, just because I had learned so much more about myself and accepted so much more about my journey. Another person emerged to tell me what they saw when they saw me. And they actually called because they just really couldn't believe what the hell was going on in my podcasts, why they were so down. And it was interesting because I've also had people reach out telling me how those very emotional, very raw podcasts hit them and helped them on their journey. So it's kind of, you know, good and bad. Mostly good though, because somebody will find help in it and know they're not alone. Anyhow, this other friend of mine reached out to me, and we had an amazing conversation, very, very long conversation. And at one point, my friend gifted me through his eyes, and it took my breath because I knew these things to be true. I mean, have you ever done that? Have you ever had somebody sit in front of you or on the phone or write you a letter, and the things they say to you are so you, through and through? They are you. But you struggle to accept it because it is so big and it is so powerful and it is so beautiful that you feel like if you accept what they're saying, that somehow you are going to be perceived as arrogant, terrible, that somehow these good things will make you a bad person. I could not wrap my head around how to accept the things that this person was saying to me, and tears just fell. They just fell. And these words washed over me and sunk into me like a gift, the greatest compliment of my life. And I just couldn't quite process it, couldn't quite figure it out. But the seeds were planted, and I knew it to be true. I trust this person implicitly. So the very next time that I went to see my therapist by Zoom, I unpacked that. And I think that that's really, truly what therapy is for me right now. I'm not falling off very many cliffs, and I am growing at and accepting and letting those things wash over me at a much deeper rate. And I took these things, literally like little bundles of compliments, and I just took them like fruit off of a tree, and I plunked them down on my therapist, and I unpacked them, and I said, these things are what this person said, and I'm not really sure how to take it. I'm not sure how to let it flood over me. And she did agree that she would have cried too at getting those compliments. And she also agreed that every single thing that this person said was Nita, through and through. And I would beg to differ with anybody who thinks they know me better than my therapist. There's one other person in the world, two, maybe. No, there's one who knows me at that level. Okay, there's three. There is my therapist, Nancy. There's my business partner, John, who helped me through some really dark spaces when I hadn't announced to the world yet that I was leaving. And um, he's just a really amazing friend. And then there's my friend Matt. And Matt listened when nobody else in the world knew. He listened for years. Sorry, Matt, I just outed you. Anyway, if something comes from one of those three people, I'm going to trust it. I'm going to know it to be true. And when I took all of this bundle of fruit basket and gorgeous flowers sticking out of it and yummy, yummy, yummy things, and I plunked it in front of Nancy and I said, I don't know what to do with this. It's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. It hurts. It's like touching the sun. And it's like somebody saying, I'm the sun. And she said, just accept it because you are extraordinary. You are different. And that goes for every single person. They have extraordinary traits and qualities and things that make other people stop in their tracks. But the hard thing is stopping, accepting, realizing, and letting those extraordinary qualities wash over you and become a part of you and just fucking fly out of you like light beams. Let's talk more about it after the break. Thanks for sticking around. My question back to Nancy when she said, just know it to be true. Just accept it. And my question, my pushback, my thing that I could not understand, that I've never been able to understand, because honest, true compliments like that through my childhood, through my formative years, were always hindered. And we don't need to go into my childhood right now, but there was just always baggage with them. And so it made adult Nita, it has made adult Nita very, very, very leery of how to accept true compliments. And it came down to a couple of things. One, the people that were throwing stones at the compliments when you were young, we've already discovered are the very people who abused you. So we don't trust them. Let that fall away. So then I was able to, allow the words to sink in a little bit deeper. And the next thing that she said, when I said, okay, but how do I accept this without being considered terrible for having these amazing things said about me? And how do I not come across as conceited or, we said it earlier, arrogant, big-headed, and ego-filled? And she smiled, just the sweetest smile. And she said, well, first, something along the lines of, have you met you? Nothing about you could be further from the truth. And accepting And allowing these words to sink into you will not make you a bad person. It will not make you what your abusers always said that you would be if you allow those compliments to sink in. They were just trying to withhold the truth from you so that they could control you. Those aren't her exact words. Um, but it made sense. What she said made sense. And it evidenced to me from somebody that I trust implicitly that it was okay for me to be me as seen through this person's eyes and as gifted through their words. That nothing about acknowledging and being that amazing person that they saw made me bad, made me unapproachable, mean, callous, abusive, narcissistic. That simply allowing somebody's compliments, somebody to tell me how they perceive me, that was an okay and righteous thing for me to do. It was amazing. It was such a gift. One, from my friend to spend that time and to allow me the freedom to have tears fall because the words were so brilliant. It helped zapped me out of that one of the last little puzzle pieces of truly loving yourself. I'm so close to just being on a high vibing love of Nita. It's so close. I have been grieving for, God, I don't know. I started grieving probably 4 years before I left separated from my spouse. So I've been grieving where I was, who I was, what was happening around me and to my children for hell, 6 to 8 years. I've only been actioning for almost two, right? Because we got separated in March of 2018. And I filed for divorce in September of 2019. So actioning and grieving. So grieving, then actioning, and actioning contained grieving and growth. But now I'm coming to these points where that hurt from a month ago, it woke me up. It woke me up and it shook me up and it taught me so much. There are just paths that are not meant for us. They're not meant to open. And I didn't realize that. I didn't know how to even deal with that. And luckily, I do love to explore my feelings. Um, I think that that's a really difficult thing for a lot of people to do, and it's difficult when your children look at you and you have tears streaming down your face, and it's so personal and private you can't talk about it, but you have already created a safe space to tell them through therapy. I've learned, and they've learned, that sometimes mom isn't okay. But the very fact that she is sharing that is okay. It's okay for people to feel. It's okay for them to hurt. It's okay for them to be joyous. And the growth that comes out of that, God, it's fucking amazing. And I know that if you've always refrained from falling into those cliffs, from allowing yourself a safe space to grieve and to cry and to scream and to hurt out loud, where you're not holding it all inside of you, just ready to burst. I know that would be hard to understand, but I have to tell you, That is where your power will come from in feeling those feelings, from accepting the words of people you trust, from letting somebody's kindness, the gift of compliments, wash over you. And if you can't unpack those compliments yourself, take them to somebody that you trust who is highly skilled that can help you unpack them. The same with the bad things, because maybe there's some stuff in there you need to learn too. But today we're talking about trust and good things. So, when my therapist told me, you get to accept those things because they're true, oh, it was like a waterfall and a wind tunnel just hit me. And it started to just kind of build this idea that I was pretty great. Even now, it's a little hard to say out loud. But why should it be? Why should we not believe that we are as awesome as we say somebody else is? Because we truly are. And I am spectacular. I am incredibly gifted at the things that I do. Out of that entire conversations, let's amend it, came my ability to finally sit down and spend, I'm not kidding you, I kid you not, it took me like almost 3 hours to sit down and write out in my journal all the positive, lovely, beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful, sexy, sensual, terrific, fantastic, loyal, intelligent things about me. Taking those hours to sit and do nothing but journal about me, it wasn't journaling, it was literally an art project, right? Because I'm not going to write those things about me with a black pen or a freaking pencil. I wrote those things about me in every color that I wanted to use, every color that I think is lovely. Only I couldn't find the teal pen as much as I wanted multiple shades of teal. So another project, not really teal, but like the aqua seafoam color. Yeah, that range. Anyway, um, I spent so much time writing these out in so many different fonts, anything creative that I could do to make it even more beautiful and even more visually representative of me, of who I am, and of what I embody. The more and more words that I put on that paper, well, actually, it's 2 sheets of paper because I opened my journal and I filled up both sheets of paper from edge to edge. But the more and more and more that I put onto that, the more colors, the more fancy lettering, the more that I completed it, the bigger my smile became. And the seeds of it took root. And it burst out of me like sun rays. Let's take a break right here because I actually hear all of my kiddos coming in the door. I'll pick you guys up on the other side of the break. Welcome back. I am really glad you stuck around. Thanks. When I open my journal and I look back at those pages and I see the colors and the fonts and all the words, all the feeling that went into them, all of the acceptance that finally flooded over me, I smile. I smile because I actually feel those things. And a couple days later, I looked at it and I saw words that I would add. but I didn't have a pretty enough pin with me at the moment, so I didn't add them yet. Nothing about me is a monotone black or blue color. So why would I add that to my list of traits, qualities, and authentic self? It's just not going to happen. I would encourage each of you to take your calendar out and schedule some time for you where you really sit down and write out the things about you that you like, that you love, that you know to be true. Challenge yourself. Think of the last compliments that you received. What did they say? Did they feel right? Did they challenge you? Did you simply just go, yeah, that person's understanding me? Or did you go, really? That's what you see? Allow yourself to grow. That exercise changed me. It was as challenged by the person who gave me the compliment. It was jump into your life. What are you waiting for? Why would you say you're going to step into this new Nita? Just freaking run on, jump right off the cliff, right into the mud. Be you, Nita. And that person was right. So ever loving right. In writing the positive traits about me, I could feel it. Oh God, I could feel the self love growing and building. I could feel the energy and desire to be more, do more, accomplish more, be true to myself, not give up, don't quit. There's really never been any quit in me, but there's been this slowness, this um, lacking to complete, lacking to succeed, as if success depended on somebody else other than me. In the end, it truly has taught me to trust myself, that I am worthy of being these things because I am those things. People tell me, my friend John said it recently in, I think in a podcast that we did in a Zoom for whatsup.org. Go check us out, whatsup.org. And he said, you make people feel fantastic. And it took me back. It took me back for a moment when he said that, because immediately it felt kind of dirty, right? But isn't that stupid? It's wonderful to make people feel fantastic. It's wonderful. I love being around people who make me feel fantastic. So why wouldn't I want to recognize about myself that I feel fantastic? What has been so incorrectly programmed in my brain to think that that's a bad thing? Mm. Luckily, through a lot of hard work and sliding, falling, jumping off cliffs, I am letting that go. And I am simply just loving me. The amazing thing that comes with self love is production. You no longer care. You just want to do. You want to live. You want to accomplish. You want to be. It was interesting because as that compliment got washed over me, sunk into me, both of those compliments, and as I unpacked at my therapist and understood through that trusting space how it could be, I immediately exited that session feeling lighter, right? Some of the world's hurts were gone because they weren't mine to carry. I was able to immediately jump into some of the plans and things like hiking. I had put hiking so far on the back burner because I wasn't about to take time for myself because that had been a bad thing for years. And now I am out walking the trails, 3, 4 times a week if I can. Not for very long, but I'm out. It immediately became okay to put me into my own life. It was no longer a bad thing. In the course of less than a week, jumping into my own life, believing in me because I allowed people I trust, people I respect, people I value to be what I heard, to be what I allowed to sink into me, to unlock the door to trusting, believing, listening to, and valuing myself. And suddenly, creating time for myself wasn't such a bad thing. It was amazing. It is amazing. Launching my new website for a glimpse into the moment.com and my blog. Creating the ability to look at a career in a different light, in a different way, with different talents. Everything about me shifted with this simple act of allowing only people that I trust to have access to the inner Nita, and only giving, how do I want to say this? Only allowing myself, my inner me, my authentic me, to hear the people I trust. Because let's face it, we all are always going to have people in our lives that should not have access to our inner selves. We will always have people, mainly probably family or through work, maybe clients or coworkers that really don't understand us and they're not our people. But are there. They aren't going to go away. And unless you shut out, have that, power, that ability, create that space to never have to work with somebody that you have conflict with, to never be related to somebody that you have conflict with. Well, it's just not realistic. So the reality is valuing yourself, valuing Nita enough for only the people that she trusts, only the people who understand her, to be able to sink into her heart, into her being, and to turn up her frequency. That is extraordinary. To be able to trust myself at that level, to be able to want to run and jump into my life. And it has literally just been like a week. And I have to tell you, our house is different, right? Our house has been climbing out of abuse for a very long time. And that reminds me, I have to correct somewhere in section 2 of my podcast, I talked about the separation. The separation didn't happen in 18, it happened in March of 2019. So I'm coming up on 2 years. But we have been digging out of this house, this cloak of depression for way too long. And now I feel like we're running away from this cloak of depression. We are painting, cleaning, purging, changing, creating us. And hopefully, by my example, my children will go out into their lives healthier and with better tools to succeed than I ever had. I hope that today's podcast brought you the ability to begin to see you. Sometimes the people closest to us, the people we're married to, the people who gave birth to us, the people who live with you, cannot see you, cannot hear you. And only you can decide if that's where you are meant to be. And only you can decide how long you'll hang on to that baggage. But I can attest that when you are ready to, after you've done a lot of hard work, to let go of the hurts and the doubt and the fear and the shame of being your awesome fucking self, it feels amazing. It feels amazing to be on the other side of all of that and live. Thank you guys. Thank you all so much. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to everybody who gives me feedback. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making it to the end of this podcast with me. I am super happy to be feeling pretty extraordinary, pretty loved, pretty celebrated, pretty amazing, and so valuable to me. Oh, it feels not even weird to say it. When you can get to a point where you can say, I am valuable, I am worthy, I love me, I am beautiful, gorgeous, and anything else that you want to say, and you are only saying it with a smile on your face and eye contact in the mirror, then you'll know you've made it somewhere. That is how I feel right now. I just feel like no matter what comes my way, it's going to be okay. Does that mean I'm not going to slide off a cliff every now and then? No. But that's okay. Feelings are meant to be felt. And I have absolutely no problem falling off the cliff every now and then. Because I know now what is possible. The beauty of healing that is possible, the beauty of letting go, the beauty in self-acceptance. That is what I want for all of you too. All right, my amazing friends. I am so happy today. I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And check us out at whatsup.org, where we are working hard to normalize mental health conversations. I absolutely love working at, for, and with, and co founding whatsup.org. WATZUP.org. Go check us out. And I look forward to talking to you guys next time. Be safe, be amazing, look in the mirror, and tell yourself how amazing you are. Bye, my friends.